Learn how to create, sustain, and scale up your print-on-demand business with the latest tips, guides, and strategies to help you start selling and making money today. Welcome to the Sales on Demand Show. And here's your host, Adam Schneider.
Hi, everybody. This is Adam Schneider. Welcome to the Sales on Demand Show. This is a bonus episode, and I'm going to be talking today about something that has nothing to do with print on demand or selling online. Well, actually, it does have quite a bit to do with selling online, but I just couldn't get this out of my head, and I have to come back here and beat this horse to death again. And it's because I keep seeing this pop up on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. And I absolutely cannot handle sitting there and not saying something about it. So I'm back again. We're going to talk about multi-level marketing programs and why it is that everything you've heard about them from people who do the programs is wrong. Why the people get sucked into it, and what are some better options to make money just using your smartphone, as these people always say. So, once again, find us on the internet, salesondemandshow.com, Facebook. The podcast can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, and a couple of other sites that I don't even know what they are because I don't use them. But my podcast service sends my podcast across the world. So, have a listen. It doesn't matter what device you use. There is a way to listen and subscribe to the podcast. So let's get into this. So I did an episode about this a couple of weeks ago, perhaps even 2 months ago. And it's now October. There's snow on the ground. It's cold. It's been snowing here in Alberta since like a month ago. And it's snowed probably 3 or 4 or 5 times. It sucks. But right now, it is heating up in a different spot. It's heating up online, and there are lots of people out there shopping for Christmas presents. And I am providing a place for them to buy their Christmas presents. I expect that this Christmas, I will come close to making $100,000 in sales. And it will cost me less than an hour of my time pretty much, well, every day for probably a month. And then maybe a little bit more than that for the 3 or 4 weeks preceding Christmas. Maybe not even that many weeks, but, it'll get busy and then it'll get quiet again. I've got 10 days off in a row at Christmas time, and I don't think I'm going to be doing anything with my business over those 10 days. Maybe I'll make some videos for you guys if you say please in a nice way. Nah, I might do it anyway, even if you don't say please. But I see this on Facebook, and I just finished scrolling through Facebook on one of my breaks. I'm actually at work right now, hustling that money up. And I got to tell you, people are still going out and falling and buying into these multi-level marketing company things. And last time, I told you, I shared with you the facts about multi-level marketing. But let's review them just in case you forgot or you didn't listen to the episode. So the facts are, these are indisputable facts. Like the earth is round, the sky appears to be blue, water falls downhill, and other things roll downhill too. But gravity exists, and 99.2 or something percent, more than 99% of people who get involved with the multi-level marketing program lose money. They lose money. It's not that they don't earn very much money. They actually lose money. Okay? Now, just try to picture any other job or career or anything that you would do on planet Earth where you're 99% guaranteed to lose money. And you don't even get to ride the roller coaster. We just went to a roller coaster in Edmonton, and it was a heck of a lot of fun. So I'm still thinking about that. But I can't imagine why people are still getting involved in this, and yet they are. But I've realized that there's almost this religious cult around multi-level marketing programs. And I thought I would get on my little platform here and try and dispel some of that. And you can think of this as a public service, because I don't expect to make any money or gain any followers from doing this, but I just can't restrain myself, because I have good friends who are getting hooked into this kind of thing. And to be honest with you, these are smart people. I know they're smart, intelligent people, but they have fallen for some blatant, deceptive techniques. I want to call them lies, because technically speaking, nobody's lied to you, but they haven't told you the whole truth. And they won't tell you the whole truth, because you are a ticket for them to earn more money. Now, the first thing I hear, and I was told this by someone who is a friend of mine and does multi-level marketing, and they do it through a company, I think it's Epicure. And this girl she's highly motivated, highly driven to do well. And honestly, if she were to commit that energy to something different, I mean, she would be unstoppable. But she's somehow been kind of taken in by the pitch of these multi-level marketing companies, like, hey, you can make a lot of money doing this. And what she said to me was that, she said a couple things. She's like, well, corporations have a pyramid structure too. And then she said, well, I can make as much money as I want. And those are two things that multi-level marketing companies always tell the people who they contract to sell with them. And both of those things, while being technically correct, are also wildly misleading. And let's go through that, shall we? So this idea that corporations, because they have sort of a hierarchical structure, are like a multi-level marketing program too. Like, that's technically, yes, a corporation does have, for their frontline employees making the least amount of money. Then they have middle management, making more money, the people who supervise. And sometimes there'll be like a line of supervisors who are also kind of frontline people. But then they got the upper management, the guys who, supervise everything, the VP, the president, and then you have the people who own the business. And they don't really do anything. They just are the ones that provided the capital to make the business actually possible. And in many cases, the president can also be on the board, and there can be a lot of crossover. But the idea that a corporation is sort of a pyramid is, technically, if you look at the shape of it, there's sort of like a pyramid structure. But I'd like to point out that every single person in that pyramid is making money. And, when somebody works in an office, they don't have to pay rent on the office. They don't walk in and have to buy pens. They don't have to buy the computer that they're sitting in front of. They didn't buy the chair. They don't have to vacuum the floor. They don't have to empty the garbage. All of that is done by someone else. So when an employee walks into the office building, he knows, this is how much money I'm going to be making. The only thing I have to do is get myself to this building, and they will pay me to be here and to provide value for this business. Now, contrast that with your multi-level marketing company. And this is why these companies love the structure. And I'll share with you something that's actually happened recently to a multi-level marketing company that should send shivers down the spine of anybody who's involved with these companies. So, let's say you sign up with Unique or Arbonne or Amway. Okay, does Amway provide you with a computer? No, they do not. In fact, as much as I know about Amway is that they're insanely cheap. And when they run conferences, they won't even provide food for you. Heck, even when I worked for like the cheapest companies, like gas stations, stuff like that, they let me have free coffee. Like, they would allow me to go and drink coffee. And, of course, I would drink way too much coffee. But, I mean, that's just what people do when they work at a gas station. You drink too much coffee. But none of these companies provide a computer, a phone, an email address. Well, sometimes they provide you with like this fake messaging system. They don't provide you with a single piece of product for free. They'll sell you product at a discount, or allegedly a discount, but they're not providing any of these tools for you because you're not an employee. And in your relationship with these companies, like I said in the last episode that I was talking about this, your relationship with these companies is so tenuous that they can literally just sever it at a moment's notice. Even employees, you get 2 weeks notice, but Amway doesn't have to give you any notice to sever your relationship with them. And did I mention that 99% of the people who sign up for these programs make $0, and in fact, at the end of the day, they are negative money? And that's because that is the way the company is structured, not to not make those lower level people any money. That's almost deliberate. And the only way that people are making money is when they sign up people underneath them. So that's where the corporate structure and the multi-level marketing structure widely diverge, is in how the compensation works, right? So you come and work for, I don't know, TELUS, or, well, you Americans probably don't know what TELUS is. It's a telephone company. So you come into your office, you sit down at your cubicle, you work your hours, you get paid. Now, contrast that with what my friend is doing, and she's selling for Epicure. Now, she goes out and she hosts a party, and she cooks for people, and she's a good cook. Don't get me wrong, she's a brilliant cook, and I've bought food from her. She used to have a food truck, and I've bought food from her food truck. And she knows what she's doing. She knows how to make recipes. She knows how to make food taste good. And I've no doubt that if anybody can make Epicure taste good, that she can. So she hosts the party, she feeds people. Epicure didn't pay for that, right? They're not paying her the time. They're not paying her any compensation to do this. But she's hoping that the people at this party will buy some of the product, or hopefully, which is better, sign up to be a distributor in her downline. Now, that sounds to me like wishing and hoping on a ghost. It's like trying to buy blue sky. You have no idea whether this is going to be successful or not. And you've taken a significant risk by hosting this party. Now, the guy who hosted the party was a gracious guy, and he was like, yeah, this is great. If you guys ever want to get fed really well, try having a party hosted by so-and-so with Epicure. And I was like, well, that's nice of him to say that. But I hope he didn't get guilted into buying a bag of this stuff. Now, it just so happens that I know how much this stuff costs. And I don't have the price right in front of me, but it was like $40 for a bag of this Epicure. I don't even know what it was. It's just a bag filled with stuff. And it just said Epicure on the front. And I was like, $40. $40. What in the name of crispy whatever is inside this bag? I mean, you must be selling like gold flaked oatmeal. I don't know what's in there. And maybe it tastes good. And maybe it's just random ingredients thrown in a bag. I mean, maybe it really does taste good. I have no doubt that, with this girl's skill, she can make this bag of whatever tastes good. But $40, I guarantee you, whatever's in that bag is not worth $40, and that it's probably worth $10 or $12, and the other, $28 is a whole bunch of commissions going to people up the line, right? And the commission that my friend will make from this bag of Epicure powder or whatever it is probably in the range of like $5. So if you had 10 people at a party and each one of them, let's be really generous and say that it's $10. So you host a party and you spend like $20 making food, and you spend like 2 or 3 hours of your time, and let's say that 10 people buy a bag of whatever this stuff is, and you get a $10 commission from each thing. So you spent $20 making this food. So you get $10 of commission from each bag, and let's say that 10 people, 10 people might be a bit much. Let's say that like 8 people will buy a bag. So you're up $60. You made $60 from hosting this party. You spent probably 2 or 3 hours cooking. And you know what? There is some intangible benefits there. Like you get to spend time with people. You know, you're hanging out, eating food. I can see where there's some benefit there. But how many times do you think you're going to host that party? How many parties do you think you can host? If you can probably get in one a week, you're doing well. If you could get one party hosted a week, I think you'd be doing as well as you possibly could. And it would be astonishing to find out that you could host 52 parties a year. Nobody's hosting 52 parties a year to make $60 commission per party. Just, there's not enough people that you know that will do that. Because you're not going to go back to the same people and be like, hey, you want to buy another overpriced bag of this stuff that you bought last time because I guilted you into it? No, not really? Okay. Well, catch you again in 3 months. Hopefully you'll say yes this time. Eventually, even if you have some initial success in selling this stuff to people, I'll be honest with you, these people are going to have sticker shock. I mean, we're not living in, the Hamptons. The small town that I live in, the people living in the small town, they're making minimum wage. A lot of them are making between $15 and $20 an hour. And they're not going to devote 2 hours of their day trying to earn enough money for a bag of basically whatever it is, Epicure powder, stuff like that. And that's what really gets me, is all this stuff is so expensive. And here's the excuse that people have. Well, you're supporting a local business by, buying this. It costs a little more, that's true, but you're supporting a local business. And my answer to that is, I don't care about your local business. And besides that, no, I'm not supporting a local business. Did you make the stuff? I mean, yeah, if you came to me and said, hey, listen, I have grown these potatoes in my garden, and I don't use, chemical fertilizer or whatever. They're pretty much organic. I just use, manure made from cat poo or whatever. I'm just kidding. I don't know if you can use cat poo as manure. But, they grew the potatoes themselves and they put them in a bag and they're like, listen, they're double the price of grocery store potatoes, but I grew these myself. I would buy that because I want to support that kind of enterprise where somebody's actually getting out there growing potatoes and selling them. I would pay double for that. Not out of pity, but out of principle. But are you making this stuff? Did you make that Scentsy bar? Did you buy the wax and craft it yourself? I know a lot of people that do make handmade soap. And they make the soap. They're not just buying it from someone else and reselling it. I mean, the handmade item maybe is worth more money, but these aren't handmade items. These are corporate items with branding on it, corporate branding. It's not your branding. You don't own any share of Epicure. If somebody buys shares in Epicure, you don't make 10 cents off of that sale. So it's not a local product. It's just that you're making a commission off of it because you happen to be distributing it. Now, honestly, if you came to me and said, can you just donate money to me? That would be about the same thing. Telling me that I should buy a local, from you because you live next to me or you live close to me, and that I should pay double for this product, which I can buy in stores. I can buy whatever's in that bag for probably $12 on Amazon. I could probably buy it for less than that if I wanted to mix it all together. Spices are cheap, man. I have a whole cupboard full of spices that I paid like $2 a thing for, and they last forever. So, no, I don't want to buy that because you're local. I have a limited number of dollars that I want to devote to food. And this is the reality of everyone else on planet Earth. Everybody looks at these things, and maybe one or two people will be guilted into buying it because they, you tell them that, hey, support your local business, Hey, we should all stick together and support each other's small businesses.
347 for those.
But that's just not going to happen. You're only going to be able to convince people of that maybe 1 or 2 times. And then people will be like, you know what? I'm sorry, but my food budget doesn't include $40 to buy this bag of stuff. And that's why these businesses, they fade out, and the people, they move on after a year. Like I told you in the last episode, I believe it was 50% of the people who sign up for these within 1 year, they're not doing it anymore. And I'm amazed that there's only 50% that bail out. But yeah, that's a lot of people bailing out of these things. So I wanted to share this funny anecdote. I've been seeing these unique lash things being advertised by 3 different women on my Facebook feed. And I can tell as soon as I see the image and the text, I'm like, what the heck? That doesn't sound like so-and-so. Because it's this cringy copy and paste text with, 8 emojis for every character. It's just so irritating to read it. It's almost like you sprain your eyeballs trying to read this stuff. It's really bad. But it's like, OMG, coming by, look at the eyelashes on this girl. That's all natural from this fiber mascara stuff. Coming by this, comment me below to find out more. So I was curious because the post had 2 likes on it. And I was like, who's liking this post? I mean, the fact that it had 2 likes on it was actually surprising to me. So I clicked on it and I was like, who is liking this post? And it turns out that the seller liked her own post. And I was like, oh man, you serious? You liked your own post? Oh, that is so sad. I'm sorry, but that's so sad. And then the other like was some random guy that probably just thought the picture was the person. They're like, oh, hey, cool, you have nice eyelashes, like that. And then moved on. And if you think that this guy is going to buy mascara, well, believe me, they're not. And some of these posts have been up for 4 or 5 days. And so I check back and I look and there's one comment and the person's like, what brand are these? And they're like, oh, I'll PM you. And that's the strategy, is that, if you comment on these posts, the person that's hawking the product will private message you because you showed, 1% interest in whatever they're selling. And they're going to hound you and hound you and hound you until you buy something or tell them to go take a hike. And honestly, if I was the person doing that, I would feel the most shame about my life because that's just no way to make money. And I can almost guarantee you that this person is one of they're a brand new presenter. They will be out of this game before you can even blink. The ink will not be dry on whatever little pretend contract they signed, and they'll be out the door. Now, it pains me to see people learn these lessons the hard way. So why don't you just learn this the easy way? Don't get involved in a multi-level marketing program. Because no matter what anyone tells you, it's not an unlimited amount of money you can make. You will not make an unlimited amount of money. And 99% of the people who get involved in these things, according to the Federal Trade Commission, so not according to some random blogger on a website, the Federal Trade Commission, the U.S. Department of the federal government that handles the federal, truth in advertising, basically. These are the people who look at businesses and analyze whether their claims are true. And you can get in huge trouble with the FTC if you're making claims that are incorrect. And that's why these MLM companies are so cagey about how they phrase these things. They're like, you could make unlimited amounts of money. It's kind of like saying, well, if you, get in a canoe and have a paddle, you could sail across the Atlantic Ocean in that canoe, but you're not going to. right? I mean, theoretically, you could do it, right? But it's not going to happen. And if you try, you're going to end up stranded in the middle of the ocean, and there's going to be a helicopter that comes and hauls you up. You're just not going to make it there, even though theoretically you could do it. If you just work hard enough, and that's the thing everybody else says, all of these 99% of people who fail, they didn't work hard enough. No, listen, it's not because they didn't work hard enough. It's because the model sucks. Because the business model sucks. It's terrible. I mean, would you say that if you attended school, you went to university, and you took, underwater basket welding, and 99% of the people failed in the class, would you say that that's the fault of those 99 people? Or would you say that the teacher sucks? I would say that the teacher sucks. He failed to teach the thing to the students. I wouldn't be like, well, you failed to, tighten your mask enough so that you could sit underwater and weld those baskets together. No, I'd be like, you know what? Obviously, whatever it is that whoever's teaching this class just absolutely sucks at teaching and shouldn't be a teacher. And these companies, they're making lots of money off of these multi-level marketing programs, but the business model sucks. Don't be the sucker at the end of the line. Don't be that person. You can do better. I understand that the appeal of working from home... My apologies. I'm actually at work, so the radio keeps going off and I have to pause it, but hopefully that didn't distract you too much. But please, take the advice that I'm giving you and don't fall for these programs. One thing I should mention, and I think I told you that I would talk about this, is there's been a company called LuLaRoe, and they are an MLM company, and they just went belly up. And that happens frequently with these guys. A lot of them will go belly up. And the ones that don't are the ones that have successfully, managed the psychology. It's not that the people are making money at Amway. It's that Amway knows how to manage the psychology of recruiting people. And from what I can tell, Amway is like a cult. People literally come from Amway and have to be deprogrammed. It's bad. Like, it's crazy. So don't get involved in that. If you want to get involved in some kind of cult, like, go be a Scientologist or something. Or, go to church or something. You'll get way more out of church than you will out of Arbonne. I guarantee you. And your friends will not hate you. Because I will tell you one thing. There is nothing that people hate more than somebody that they know and trust and love trying to sell them something. When I walk into Walmart, do you know what I don't want? I do not want someone coming up into me and saying, hey, can I help you find anything? I walked into Walmart. I know what I'm here for. Maybe you point me out to where the motor oil is and you just move your hand in the direction. I'll find it myself. But sometimes you walk into Walmart and they got the people who sell the credit cards. Basically, hey, do you want to sign up for something really terrible? They walk over with a little credit card sign-up thing, and I'm like, nah, hey, listen, you don't want to give me a credit card. I don't pay my bills. Like, I will get this credit card, and it will be a terrible thing for me. And I just brush them off right away because I hate that. I hate it when someone comes up to me and tries to sell me something in a store. And I'm like, listen, I will take my purchases to the register and you will take whatever money that costs. This transaction doesn't have to be awkward, but you just made it awkward for me. And that's not cool. So, people hate being sold to. When I see someone standing on my front step and I'm like, they're carrying a clipboard. Oh, shoot, they got some kind of name tag on. It's a salesman. All right, everybody hide under the couch. Nobody move. Their vision is based on movement. And we all just wait until the person goes away. And then hopefully they never come back again because this house didn't answer the door. But people hate that. They hate it. I mean, I used to go door to door trying to get people to sign up for a free estimate with the Student Works painting. And I got to tell you, it was the most awkward and irritating thing I've ever done. I only lasted a day. And I think I made like $15 because I got 3 people to agree to sign up for an estimate. to get someone to come paint their house. And I got to tell you, it was irritating. And I could tell that the people who were at the other end answering the door, they were like, really? This is what you're doing? This is how you're making money? Do you like yourself right now? Do you feel good about yourself knocking on my door, asking me if I want paint? Do you feel good about that? And I was like, I don't. I don't feel good about this. I don't like myself very much right now. And I'm going to go run a bath and sit there and cry in the bathtub. No, I didn't do that, but I hated that job. And I could tell that the people didn't like it either. So, if you don't want to do multi-level marketing, what are some things that you can do? Well, now I alluded to this before, but let's suppose that you were a good cook and you were like, hey, listen, I know how to make recipes. I know how to experiment with things. I can teach people how to cook. Well, why don't you teach people how to cook? I mean, right now we have a wonderful invention called the internet. Now, Al Gore may not have actually invented the internet, but it's there and it's a wonderful tool to use. And everybody's on it. Everybody's got a smartphone. We all know what YouTube is. And people will often visit YouTube to get recipe ideas or to learn how to cook or to learn how to do something. If you've got a skill and you want to make some money off that skill, there are hundreds of thousands of videos on YouTube that are people teaching someone how to do something. I watch these videos all the time. Like just the other day, I was like, man, I need to replace the wiper motor on my Corolla. It's a 2003 Corolla, so I typed in 2003 Corolla wiper motor. And sure enough, there is a Russian guy. It's always a Russian guy doing these videos, but he's like, okay, we have 2003 Corolla. I take the hood off and then blah, blah, blah. So he rolls through the whole thing. He's got this horrible quality video camera, but he's the only one making a video about how to do this. And so I watched the video. And he teaches you how to replace the wiper motor. And before the video plays, there's an ad that plays. And it's called monetizing. Right? So if you make videos about how to do something and you monetize those videos, YouTube will pay you money. Not a lot of money. You have to get quite a few views. But you're probably making more money than by selling mascara on Facebook. I almost guarantee it. If you made 20 cents doing that, you're making more money than these people selling mascara on Facebook, right? And you have to, you might have to make like 30 or 40 videos to start getting some traffic. But as soon as people see that you're a guy that knows how to do things or a gal who knows how to do things, like let's say you're a really good artist. And I've got a friend who's a really top-notch artist. I mean, she is brilliant, insanely good at creating art, just out of random, material that she finds around. And I'm like, listen, why don't you make a course on this? Like, why don't you teach people? She has a YouTube channel, and she gets a little bit of money from the monetization. And I'm like, you know what you could do? You could create your own course, and you could have categories like, use this material and look at all the stuff you can make out of it. You could sell that course for like $100. You could sell it for $200. Come on now. Get on board with this program and make some money. I want to make you money. So I tell her this every time I see her. She shows me some little art project she's made, and I'm like, man, if I cared about art even a tiny little bit, I would pay you to teach me how to make that, because it's brilliant. I mean, it truly is like beyond anything I've seen anyone else do. She's got a real talent for it. Now, you don't need like this brilliant talent. A little bit of talent goes a long way. And in some cases, like if you're teaching idiots like me how to replace their wiper motors, you literally don't even have to speak very good English. You don't need a fancy camera. You just need to like open the hood of your old Corolla and start fixing things, and then record it. And I will watch that, and you'll make money from it. So that's just one way to make money with the internet. Now, another way to do this is to sell physical products on platforms where people are already shopping. So right now it is just about Halloween. Like Halloween is tomorrow, and it's the 30th of October, and people are out there already shopping for Christmas presents on Etsy and Amazon. And I have products sitting there waiting for those hungry buyers to come and purchase. I've spent the last couple years building up these products. It cost me nothing to design them. Sometimes I'll pay for a design, but most of the time I just come up with it myself. And then I launch it on a website called Gear Bubble, and then I connect it to Amazon and Etsy. And then if somebody buys it, I make the money. If nobody buys it, I move on. But it costs me nothing to make these designs. And I make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them every year. Probably should make a few more now because it's getting close to Christmas. So I talk about this, how to do this on my podcast. So if you're brand new to this idea of making money from home, I got to tell you, there's so many better ways of making money out there than you could possibly imagine. So have a listen to the podcast and give it a shot. You never know, you could make some money this Christmas. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you for listening. Share this podcast with any person that's been slurped into the world of multi-level marketing scams. And with that, I bid you adieu. Cheers.